Okay, good evening. Hopefully you can hear me. This is the draw for the English Open 2021. We'll be going through it shortly. Obviously, there's some issues with Facebook and Flash Snooker Club app, meaning that we can only log in as guests at the moment. So, if that is still the case by this evening, then the earlier rounds, the last 16, 10 players have entered. So it'll be the last 16. That will be played on Thursday, best of 5, and the quarterfinal can be played on Sunday. Semi-final will be played on Tuesday, and the final on Thursday week. So let's go into. I just need to make some adjustments. So just for the moment, I'll be back shortly, but the draw will be made in a moment. Okay, hopefully you can hear me again. Back for the draw. It's slightly complicated. Well, in my brain it is. So please bear with me. So seeding. There's 10 players that have entered. So let's have a look at those 10 players. So on the top left is the 10 players that have entered in order of how many points they have. Stevie Watts is currently leading the main tour points table with 120,000, and Wim de Ruyter is, along with Alan Lockett and Dave Lewis, currently hasn't scored any points yet. They're at the bottom. Wim de Ruyter's not played any tournaments. So the top five of those players, so they'll be split into two halves of five. And you can see there in pot one is Steve, Jim Gigakis, Alex Jordan, Nikos Gerelis, and Carlos Bigger. And in pot two is Jamie Anderson, Papadakis, Mick Sol, Dave Lewis, Alan Lockett, and Wim de Ruyter. I'm just doing it like this for this tournament. I may slightly change how this works because I'm foreseeing in the future that there's potential for manipulation of the way this is done. I will go into that another time, but for this particular draw, it will be split into the players who've entered. The 10 players will be split in two, so the top five and the bottom five. So we're going to go into pot one. And this is pot one here. Let me just make a slight adjustment so it's easier to see. So we have the five top players in this pot. So I'm going to make the draw shortly. The first player to come up will be seed one. And the second player to be drawn will be seed two, and so on. And then I'm going to make the draw for pot two, and the first player drawn in that pot will be seed 9, and then the player after that will be seed 10, and so on. So what I just still need to do is just make adjustments on here. Okay. And one more adjustment, just bear with me, please. Thanks for your patience. You don't have to necessarily watch this. This will be available to watch later. You can get on with your business and come back to it later on. I will post the results in a moment once this is completed. What I just need to do is Right. Okay. So last 16. So if you can see on the right there, the first player drawn will be seed 1. The next player drawn will be seed 8. So I'm going to use this right side here. So the first player drawn will be in the top match, the home player. Then it will be the second player will be the second drawn, second match drawn home player. Then the third player drawn from pot 1 will be the third match home player, and the fourth match will be the fourth player drawn out will be the fourth player in the fourth match. Then the fifth player will be drawn. Then there'll be another draw with numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that player will play whichever match they're drawn against, and then the rest will be buys. And the same will happen for pot 2. The first player out of pot 2 will be in the fifth match home player, and so on. And the remaining player will be drawn from 5 to 8, and whichever one comes up, that fifth player will be go into that match. That's the only way I can do it at the moment. There is another way of doing it, but it's not a setup now. It will take me a good few minutes to set that up, but that will be ready for the next time. I hope that makes sense. It should become quite straightforward when I start the draw. So let us start the draw now. I'm just going to have a quick look at any messages, see if there's any other players or any questions. I'm just letting Nikos know that he is in. Okay, so this will be pot 1, and this is for to draw out. This is for the last 16, and this is to find out who is the home player or player 1 in match 1. And let's make the draw. So Nikos Gerelis is the first player in match 1, and he will go there as seed 1. So he goes there into match 1. Let's go now to the next player in pot 1. This player will go into match 2 as a home player, and the reason they're going as home players is because there's 10 players and 16 spaces. So all but 4 players will get a bye, and will go into the quarterfinal. And as I said before, as has been said in the past, depending on the main tour points table, there will be for the smaller events. I think there's about 9 or 10 over the season. They will be split depending on how much money you've got, just to make it a bit fairer and just to keep it a bit competitive and not allow players to run away with it. So Jim Gikakis is the next player drawn. They will go into the second match as the home player. And let's make the next one for the player who's going to go in match 3. So just based on what we've just done, Nikos Gerelis and Jim Gikakis will play each other in the quarterfinal should they get through. I say should they get through because they may have to play a last 16 match if they get the 5th extra player, if they're drawn against the 5th extra player. Stevie Watt is the 3rd player drawn. And we'll go into match 3 in the top half of the draw. Now there's 2 more players left in pot 2. So let's see who is in match 4 as the home player. It's either Alex Jordan or Carlos Bigger. It looks like it's Alex Jordan. Yeah. So Alex Jordan will go into match 4 as the home player. As you can see there. And just to confirm that Carlos Bigger, and I'm just going to make another adjustment here once this is finished. Right, now what I'm going to do is put matches 1, 2, 3, and 4 here, and then draw one of them out, and that is who Carlos Bigger will play. So this is for who Carlos Bigger will play, either match 1, 2, 3, or 4, either Nikos, Jim Gikakis, Steve, or Alex. So let's make that draw. 1 represents Nikos, 2 represents Jim Gikakis, and so on. This is for the last 16 match of 5. Any player who doesn't get drawn against Carlos Bigger in this top half of the draw will get a bye into the quarterfinal. And I'll just confirm that in a moment. So it's 4, match 4. And match 4 is Alex Jordan. So Carlos Bigger will go into play Alex Jordan in the last 16 to qualify for the quarterfinal. So there we have so far on your right there. Let me just make that a bit bigger. Nikos Gerelis has got a bye into the quarterfinal, but will play Jim Gikakis in the quarterfinal. Stevie Watts gets a bye and will play the winner of Alex Jordan and Carlos Bigger. Now we're going to go on. We're going to use the same method for pot 2. And just a reminder, those players are Jamie Anderson, Papa Das Mixol, Dave Lewis, Alan Lockett, and Wim de Ruiter. So this first player will be drawn will be in match 5 on the bottom half of the draw. Let's make that draw. Apologies, back onto the wheel. So this is who goes in match 5 in the bottom half of the draw. It's Papadakis Mixol. So he goes into match 5. Now it's going to be who goes in match 6. Excuse me. This is for match 6 now. Make the draw. And this player will technically play Papadakis Mixol should they get through to the quarterfinal, either by a bye or by winning the extra player who will be drawn in a moment. So Wim de Ruiter on his first match back is drawn in match 7. Let's make the draw for match 6. Sorry, Papadakis is match 5. Wim de Ruiter is match 6. Let's make the draw for match 7. Jamie Anderson is the home player in match 7. And let's make the draw for who is the home player in match 8. There's 2 players left in pot 2, Alan Lockett and Dave Lewis. So Alan Lockett is the player in match 8. And so that leaves us with Dave Lewis remaining. And I will just make an adjustment now. So matches 5, 6, 7, and 8, which I've just drawn. So once that is finished, I'll make the draw. And whichever of those matches, 5 to 8, is chosen, that is who Dave Lewis will play in the bottom half of the draw. So let me just make the changes. So there we go. 5, 6, 7, and 8 is listed. So I'm just going to make that draw now. And Dave Lewis will play in this match that comes up here in the bottom half of the draw. Let's make that draw. So it will be match 7 that Dave Lewis will play in, meaning that he will play Jamie Anderson in the last 16. and that so everyone else will get a bye. And therefore I'm just going to add all the other buys. So as I said earlier, if the app is not showing names, then the last 16 matches, there are 2 last 16 matches which were due to be played tonight. Those will be moved to the quarterfinal, to Thursday, sorry. And the quarterfinal, which is due to be played on Thursday, will be moved on to Sunday, as that being the time where we could play it. If the app comes up, say tomorrow, the match can be played tomorrow if players are available, but the default time to play it will be on Thursday at 8 o'clock, and the default time for the quarterfinal will be 8 o'clock on Sunday. Just let me finish this. So that saves. So let's have a look at the matches. So the last 16 looks like this. Nikos will play, well, Nikos gets a bye and Jim gets a bye. Steve gets a bye. Alex Jordan will play Carlos Bigger either tonight if the app comes back on, or on Thursday, or by Thursday if it comes on before that. Like I say, it can be played if they wish. Papa goes through as a bye, and Wim de Ruiter goes through as a bye, but they will play each other in the quarterfinal. Jamie Anderson will play Dave Lewis, and Alan Lockett will play the winner of Jamie Anderson and Dave Lewis in the quarterfinal. So I hope that makes sense. I will post it in a moment. The winning prize for this tournament is 70,000 points, 35,000 for the runner-up, 23,000 for the third place player winner, and 18,000 for semi-final loser. And quarterfinal will be 14,000. The quarterfinal loser, only if they've won a match. You have to have won a match to win any points. If you just get a bye and go into a particular round but then lose, you do not get the points for that round. So that's basically it. Any questions, just private message me or say something in the green room. Good luck to all players. I will give updates later on, and as soon as I know if there's any change to the situation with the Flash Snooker app, then I'll let you know. Just to say that you cannot play the match in the conditions it's in at the moment, just being a guest. That is not going to be possible. It has to be with your name on it. But I'll send updates later. Thanks for watching. As I said, good luck to all players, and au revoir.